Bob Iger is very proud to announce that the DisneylandForward project has finally been approved. The biggest expansion of the Disneyland Resort since 2001 finally has the go-ahead, but it seems like Disney might have hid the ball. Is this a bait and switch? Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me is West Coast theme park expert, Mr. VashSky. Vash, I am so excited to talk about this today. Do you know what we are going to be discussing?
I believe I do, and well, yeah, this is a particular passion of mine and a story that I've been following for a long time. I cannot wait to share it with you and the rest of our audience here, Jonas.
Yes, and we need to point out that Theme Park Wizard made this video possible because of his excellent work. Let's go over here to the DisneylandForward website. What is this website, first of all, Vash?
The DisneylandForward website is basically, it's kind of like a hype website a little bit. Its primary function was to sell the idea of DisneylandForward to the residents of Anaheim specifically because, well, obviously they're going to have to be living with this thing and they need the city council's approval. So it's all about getting the city on board with this idea, and so that way they have support going forward. It's a different tack than they've done previously. Previously, it was like, hey, we run this town, but this was a little bit more of an outreach effort.
Right. And of course, when Disneyland was founded, it was essentially, it was the only thing there in Anaheim. There were houses out there, and it was an unusual location for them to put this park. But if you build it, they will come, as they say. So if we look at this website, like you've said, it is essentially a pitch deck to the people of Anaheim to allow Disney to rezone all of this land that they already own and also change the direction of some streets here. There are going to be some infrastructure projects. There is a $2.4 billion capital expenditure that's going to go into changing this area around. A lot of people think that's going towards a theme park land. That is probably not the case. Vash, what do you think that $2.4 billion is going to go towards?
Well, here's the thing. It's it has a max of 2.4, but a minimum of 1.9. I think it's going to be closer to 1.9, and they're going to. I think there's like a $5 million fee that they have to pay if they don't hit that max number right there. So I think that's what's going to be. And honestly, I mean, I know the the possibilities page that we're on right now talks about all this stuff. Oh, look at what's going on the west side, and look how we're going to fill up these parking lots with all these attractions. Hold on, folks. there's a lot that needs to be done even to get to that point. That 1.9 is probably going to be a part of. We have investments in California Adventure that we have to think about. And not only that, but even separate from that 1.9, we have to spend hundreds of millions of dollars in order to get city infrastructure up to snuff. They need a 17,000 parking garage that they're going to build here with a walkway over harbor. Actually, several, in fact, that they talk about here. So it's even in terms of not just monetary, but the time that's required to invest in some of these things, we're a long way from what you're seeing on screen right now.
Right. So that 1.9 billion. See, this is funny because usually when we call Disney out on hiding the ball here, it's because they're doing something they shouldn't do. I think this is good gamesmanship on their part, because I think that 1.9 to 2.4 billion dollars, that's going towards infrastructure changes in the area as opposed to actually building a land. They were approved and they are spending all of this money before they actually change into the IP in the land, before they build a new attraction here. A lot of this is parking garages and in reforming this land, which is going to be incredibly expensive in Southern California, of all places.
And let's not forget, too, the Disneyland Resort is severely underbuilt when it comes to hotels as well, and specifically DVC. And the presentation that they gave to the city residents of Anaheim during the city council votes and such, they made a big point that they want more DVC and they want more hotels. So that's the other thing that you have to think about. It's not just all going towards, I don't know, the next Cars Land. This is really about building out the Disneyland Resort to suit the purposes of the Walt Disney Company going forward.
Right. So let's look at some of this text here. It may be a little hard to read. Let me see if I can blow this up. Yeah, here we go. We wanted to bring more Disney investment to Anaheim. However, this became more challenging under our 1990s approvals and the limited space available in our parks today. 1990s, that was, by the way, that was Westcott, I do believe, that was put Correct. On the docket there. But I have yet to visit Westcott. It's one of my favorite Walt Disney World ideas. Vash, have you ever visited Westcott?
Never had the chance to visit Westcott, and neither did the residents of Anaheim either. I mean, the idea was so good. It was so splendid. Taking Epcot, making a West Coast version of it, but instead of putting the countries like they are in World Showcase and so forth that we see in the Epcot theme park in Florida, it would have been surrounded by the continents, and you could see how one architectural style influenced the other, and that would have created your berm of essentially hotel rooms, where you have hotels on the top floors and then attractions on the bottom floors. It was tremendous and a great maximum use of the real estate provided.
Right. And also right now, if you're on certain attractions within Disney's California Adventure, your roller coaster has you looking into some random hotel during certain turns, which is hilarious. I wonder if anyone's seen anything they shouldn't have seen. But we want to. The point that I'm trying to make here is that not everything is exactly as it seems. When Disney is approved for something, it's not necessarily what they do. When Disney says they're going to spend this money, it's not because they're going to build a Peter Pan land or Tangled Land or something like that. Right here, they're saying, with Disneyland Forward and more flexibility within our existing properties, new lands and adventures like those underway at Tokyo Disney Sea and Shanghai Disneyland will inspire new experiences here. I noticed that's not Disney World, which is kind of getting the short end of the stick, even though they're the high end of the stick, to butcher that phrase, as far as profitability. What we want to go to is right down here. This section. Pay attention to this, and then we're going to go to what Theme Park Wizard has discovered. With our updated approvals, Disney's California Adventure Park could be home to some of Disney's most technologically advanced, immersive, and cutting-edge entertainment, taking cues from these exciting lands and attractions around the globe for inspiration for the future of Disneyland Park. Vash, that strikes me as a little bit different than what we've been talking about.
That's weird right there, Jonas, because this was never pitched towards any specific park, but mainly the Disneyland Resort, and they use those terms interchangeably, I get it, but Disney California Adventure previously wasn't mentioned, and now it is.
I don't think it's been mentioned at all here. In fact, the name Disneyland Forward implies Disneyland to me. Let's go over to the eagle-eyed Theme Park Wizard here. First of all, we've got how it is now with our updated approvals, Disneyland California Adventure. That's the current website right there in nice impact font. Going to go back to what it was in 2023 with Disneyland Forward and an updated approach to these exciting new lands and attractions coming to Tokyo Disney Sea could be the perfect inspiration for the future of, and no question here, Disneyland Park, otherwise known as the Magic Kingdom. But we're talking about Walt's original park, not Disney's California Adventure. This is Disneyland. Am I mistaken, Vash?
That's what they're saying. Disney, when they say Disneyland Park, they mean Disneyland usually. Now sometimes they'll say Disneyland Park just out of reflex, and they'll use them interchangeably in that way. But that's why the park usage is connected to Disneyland is that way, because when people refer to Disneyland, sometimes they refer to the resort, sometimes they refer to the park itself. All that is to say, what they pitched to Anaheim was that we were going to be expanding Disneyland, and I think a lot of people were very hyped by that idea. But now that they're changing the verbiage on this to include Disney California Adventure specifically, it's like, well, two things. One, that's not as appetizing of a prospect, let's say. But two, you didn't necessarily need Disneyland Forward to do that.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the things that have been presented specifically by Bob Iger here. He keeps referencing Avatar. And he said the word Avatar Land on a call, and then when they did the transcript of that call, it later said an Avatar experience, which, noting that wasn't a direct quote from Bob Iger. And then at the Moffat-Nathanson call, he said the words that Disneyland Forward will have Avatar, and that's the only confirmed item for Disneyland Forward. Also, on top of that, we were already hearing rumors that there was going to be a Disney California Adventure. They dropped the apostrophe and the S on that sometime, and I missed it. There were rumors it was going to be a Disney California Adventure. And now it sounds like with Disneyland, Bob Iger has said that Disneyland was going to be getting Avatar. I'm pretty sure the language was Disneyland, or maybe I'm just confused. I have to think that they were intentionally making it confusing so that it sounded like Disneyland was getting an Avatar experience. And of course, our question here was, what is going to leave in order to make room for this? So we assumed Disneyland Forward would be an expansion of Disneyland, as in the park Disneyland, not just the resort, and that Avatar would be coming to that area. Probably not going to get rid of one of their less successful lands, that being Galaxy's Edge, in order to bring in Avatar, which would be a copy of the amazing one over at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Vash, do you feel like that this has been fairly represented in the public? Am I crazy? Please correct me if I've missed anything here.
No. I think it's a fair representation of what they've represented. I think they've been cagey for a reason. I get it. I understand the gamesmanship being played here for sure, but I guess what is confusing and concerning is that this has all been pitched as expansions for Disneyland specifically, or the Disneyland Resort, and obviously we knew that California Adventure was going to be incorporated into that. But the emphasis on Disney California Adventure and leaving necessarily Disneyland Park behind sort of implies that Disney California Adventure will be the focus in the immediate future. Everything else, well, maybe we'll get around to it when we get around to it. Maybe it's not even part of this first 10-year tranche of $1.9 billion that we've heard of.
Yeah, I wonder as well if they felt like Disney California Adventure already had a black mark against it because of all of the things that had to happen in order to make that park into what it is today. And it's still the little brother of Disneyland. And Disneyland is the one that everyone loves. It's Walt's park. It's an excellent park. I'm looking forward to going out there one day. I see all the Walt Disney World footage, and it's nice and it's spacious. And then I see Disneyland, and it's that entire park, but it's like squished in together. But it's charming from everything that I've seen there. I think that they intentionally did this because no one would be romantic about expanding Disney's California Adventure, but lots of people would be romantic about the idea of expanding Disneyland Park because Disney California Adventure Forward just doesn't have the same ring to it.
Yeah, Disneyland had the support. Disneyland had the love. It had the adoration. It had all those things, and so the fact that this language has changed in this way, especially kind of like post vote. Now, I don't know exactly when this website was changed, but because it's, obviously we're learning about this after the vote has been done. I gotta be honest, feels like a bait and switch to me. It feels like, it's not as advertised. And oh boy, we just had a huge swath of Anaheim residents, like veterans in a war, go back to Westcott being promised, then the bait and switch that was pulled there. So I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's a fascinating thing to me. Bob Iger is a master communicator, or has been described as such. I think he's lost a few steps in the last 4 or 5 years, especially. But we want to throw this to our commenters. What do you think about this? Is this change here something that we're reading too much into, or is this something that's just par for the course for modern Disney? We would love to know whatever your thoughts are in the comment section down below. Of course, like this video if you like this video, and consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.